Hey there guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome back to Brownlow Books. This is gonna sound so weird. Sometimes, when I can't choose a book to read out of, all of this around me, it's just the pressure is overwhelming, I will go for the lowest rated book based on my Goodreads ratings that I have on my shelf. Partly to keep expectations low. So I can move on to reading something I actually have a huge interest in that's better rated. And secondly, to try to make some room on my shelves so there's not stacks of books around the room like there is now. That being said, this is the lowest rated book I have in my possession. It did not make room on a shelf because it was in a stack on the floor. It was actually given to me by the author and the publishing house through Goodreads giveaways. It's not an ARC though. It's published in March or something of this year. I think it was this year. But I have thoughts. I have thoughts about it. I have lots of thoughts about it. Okay. It's The Magus and the Fool by Akiva Hersh. Hersh. It's billed as a Great Gatsby retelling for the queer community. You'd think I'd love this. I like Fitzgerald. I don't care what people say. I like Fitzgerald. So it is a Great Gatsby retelling, but they just sort of gender swapped most of the characters and made them queer. I had high hopes for it. I really did. But it doesn't really stand on its own. Like, when you're retelling something, you have to do more than just gender swap and make them queer and, then tell the exact same story again. I was literally reading a 1920 story written in, the 2020s, and I was just like, this is fucking exact to the book, pretty much. I was just like, yep, okay, this is gonna happen next, this is gonna happen next, this is gonna happen next. It's like, you need to do a little bit more to it, I feel. But that's actually the least of my problems with this book. Yeah. So, right on the back, an alluring transgender man, Levi. If you think that this is supposed to be, trans positive and for the queer community, why the fuck did you make it so transphobic? This book is horribly transphobic. It purposely misgenders Levi several times, brings up stupid things about being transgender where it's like, why would you, they're transgender, why would you do that to them? Doesn't make any sense. It's just, yeah, it's transphobic. And the fact that it's billed as for the queer community really kind of upsets me. On top of the transphobicness, gratuitous anti-Semitism. Now, don't get me wrong, I know that The Great Gatsby has some, fucking anti-Semitism in it, but, like I said, that was the 1920s. This is written in the 2020s. If you didn't go exactly the same fucking way you did in the fucking book, if you would, change one thing, you could leave that fucking anti-Semitism out. It is pointless. It does not have fucking anything to do with what's going on. Not at all. I actually found the author's YouTube. 0 subscribers. But I watched a video that he had of, questions that were asked about this book, which were obviously, planned by him and then written out the answers, because you can literally see him reading as he's answering these questions that nobody asked. And so he's like, yeah, I gave it to this character because, she doesn't give a fuck about anything, so she can handle the, backlash that comes from it. And I'm like, bitch, there was no backlash. The people that were with her when she said these horrible anti-Semitic and transphobic things were just like, yes, alright, that's just Fallon. And it's like, the fuck? I'm sorry, are you not a gay Jewish man yourself? Why would you leave it in there when it doesn't serve a purpose? It takes place in Austin. Moving on to the next point. It takes place in Austin. If you don't know, Austin has a pretty large homelessness problem. It's referenced a couple times in the book as just homeless people on the street. But, like, the language used around it makes it seem like it's people's own faults that they're homeless and not, like, a societal problem that needs to be solved. It's just like they're homeless because they're homeless. They did something wrong. And it's just kind of like, what? The language is a smaller point. Flowery and pretentious. Like, take this man's thesaurus away. I can't. It is quite small. Like, it is pretty much the same size as The Great Gatsby in that I read it in about the same amount of time it took me to read The Great Gatsby for the first time. But, like, it just, yeah. It needs something to stand on its own, and it didn't give me that. It was literally just take it from 1920s to 2020s and make everyone queer. And I was just like, yeah. It's transphobic, it's anti-Semitic, it is pretentious as fuck, as I said. It's, I sat here and I thought about it and I was like, what is the redeeming quality of this book? And there isn't one. Like looking farther into like who wrote it, I was like, yeah, your author write-ups are a little pretentious too, but I was like, based on the kind of person you are, like, I would not expect him to have written this book unless he's harboring some feelings of maybe not actually appreciating who he is. You know, the kind of thing where, like, God, this happened a lot when I was a teenager. Like, teenage boys were like, ew, that's so fucking gay, and that kind of shit where you're like, ugh. And then it turns out when they're older that they're actually gay and they were just, like, hating themselves. Kind of feels like he hates himself. Like, hates what he is, but, like, I don't know. Like, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but, like, there are people in the queer community who hate other people in the queer community, and it just kind of feels like he hates trans men. I don't know. I wanted to like it. When I heard what it was about, I was like into it, but just the execution is not there for me. So I did end up giving this a 1 star on Goodreads, and I was the 35th rating. It averages out to a 2.54. There are some people giving this 4 stars. There's a fair amount of people giving this 4 stars, so I'm kind of like, did you and I read the same book, or are you one of those people that, like, reading books about people different from yourselves just immediately like, oh my god, it's great, even though, you know, in this case, it's transphobic as fuck. Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, I will say just, you know, do not read. Like, don't waste your time with it. Honestly, like, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I can't. It's horrible. It's going into my mini-series. Yeah. Not great. So, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you around next time.